This episode of the Golf Gambling Podcast on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Sign up with promo code GOLFSGPN to score up to $1,000 in bonus cash. And we're also brought to you by Rhythm. Get your 7-day free trial by going to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMN. All right, D-Gens, welcome back. We're in the final stretch. We're headed to East Lake on the back of a Keegan Bradley victory, stuffing everyone into lockers because clearly he was definitely in form. And we all should have seen it coming with a short wedge versus long iron game. I digress. Steve, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing well. Are you actually going to claim this outright victory for you?
No.
This is your boy?
Oh, absolutely not. I'm just happy.
Why not?
I'm just happy for him.
It's your boy. It's your favorite golfer.
I know, but I didn't put money on it. I put money on a side bet. That didn't work out. But
come on. We all know you probably shadow bet Keegan.
I didn't shadow bet it.
Friday.
I did, dude. I'm telling you. I think he even asked me on the show. You said Keegan. I said, "Nah, I'm good." Like he was just not in good form, and I like him at long iron tracks. And we all knew it was going to be, wedges in. And I was like, "Nah, I'm good. Like I'm fine." Retrospect, man, 60-1 would have been nice going to the fucking East Lake because I'm hammering only 4 shots back next week.
Yeah. Well, that was only that was 2 shows ago because we did not do a BMW.
Oh, that's right. It's 2 shows ago. Sorry.
I was on vacation. I was kind of really checked out this week. I watched a little bit today. I mean, the problem is it's the summer and my kids don't really like to watch golf. So I'm usually out and about. Yeah. So, but I listened to the coverage today. I had my 1-year-old likes walks, like really likes walks. And literally she'll paw at the door like a cat trying to get out. So, I go on long walks and I had the earpiece in and I really was, and I almost texted you, but I didn't because I didn't want to be accused of mushing or anything, but it really started to sound like Keegan was going to blow it down the back.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. It was there. It was there.
Yeah. Once he started getting the 2-way miss with the driver.
Went right, then went left. I was like, fucking, here we go. Went long, fucking stuck in the bunk. That bunker shot, dude, the fact he got out of there with a 5 was fucking amazing. I don't know if you watched it or not.
Oh, was it? It was the one where he went long on 15, and then he had to blast out sideways, I think.
Yep, that's the one.
Okay. Yeah, that was a very good up and down. And one of the other thing I was also thinking about too is, you always love talking about how we saw Adam Scott hit great chip shots, and he did that all weekend long.
All day.
But then whenever I tried to shoehorn in, listen, his strokes gained putting metrics, they're starting to look really good. And then he said, you know what? Whenever there's a 5-footer on the line, he's gonna miss it.
Yep.
Man, oh man, he missed a lot of 5-6 footers.
So many, man. So many. And that's why I don't bet Adam Scott, because you imagine having money on Adam Scott and seeing all of these fucking 5 and 7 foot and 9 foot fucking there's no shot. No shot. He knows from the jump. It's not like, oh, he just missed. Nope. He's immediately walking after it because he pushed it. He pushes a lot of them. One of the announcers was talking about it. They were saying he was I'm not going to do the hand motion because that'll be a meme. He's twisting the shaft as he's doing it. So that's why he's pushing a bunch of them. And it's funny. They slowed it down. He absolutely does. It's not as bad as Zalatoris, but you figure he's got the cheater putter anyway. My God. It was ugly. It was bad. I didn't feel bad for Adam Scott because Keegan won, but yeah, I mean, Christ. That's why you don't bet Adam Scott.
Yeah. I mean, that's essentially his entire career in a nutshell. The dude should have won probably 3, 4, 5 majors.
Oh,
and
easily.
Yeah. The fact that he's a one and done guy and probably will stay one and done unless somehow he ends up clipping off maybe a random open. Right.
Yeah, he might win. He might win the open.
He could.
I can see him winning it.
Yeah. All right. So back to Keegan though. So you were talking some crazy talk, I feel like, last night after probably a couple drinks.
It was last night. It wasn't even after he won. It was previous to him winning. I want that on the record, by the way.
Yeah. Well, I also know half of you was trying to mush him into oblivion because, you were holding the Ludwig ticket.
I would never mush Keegan. I would never mush Keegan. I told you. I told you. I was like, this is like the worst case scenario for me. Keegan's going to fucking kill my Ludwig ticket. And
I don't know. I think there's some bad intentions behind it, but
still bad intentions.
I guess we can finally talk about it though. Your boy, who's going to be a Ryder Cup captain, winning the BMW.
Yep.
And You're getting all hyped up for player captain Keegan Bradley. You think it's actually going to happen, or is that just gin and tonic talking?
I think it's gin and tonic talk because here's the deal. I didn't realize it was only going to be the majors and the players that counted for the money, and I guess they did that for the live. Because I was like, oh man, he just won 3.6. I was like, how much is that going to move him up the chart? And I was like, oh, it doesn't move him up at all. Great. So I mean, he'd have to win. He'd have to win a major and probably top 10, at least 2 of them, for it to be
next year.
I
mean, he can win 3 times and get it.
No, it's only dollars that count from the players in the 4 majors this year.
No, that's not true. That's this year. It only counts. Next year, you start accruing the points.
Oh, see, I read. So I'm pretty sure it's the same fucking thing.
No, it's always been all.
I thought the live thing fucked up.
No, I mean the live guys. I mean, they count for the majors.
Definitely live.
Well, okay, so you think he's going to win probably 2 times next year, contend in majors.
He only needs So to get into the top 6 right now, he'd need to win like 3.9 mil, right? That's obviously with nobody in between winning any money, right? But dude, it's a long season. There's big purses now. So if they're counting all the wins, shit, dude, he's clearly good at fucking 70-man events. The Travelers last year, fucking this in Japan, like he's what we used to make fun of Xander for being. He's winning in no-cut events.
Okay. Well, do you want him actually being player captain and having all those distractions with him? Because I think it'll be fucking amazing. Because he's right. Because he did his interview today, and he was like, "Look, clearly there's been no player captain because no one's played full time on the tour and been a captain before." Like, I mean,
it's a very unique situation.
Tiger was player captain of the President's Cup, and that didn't really work out all that great. He had made some very questionable decisions.
We still won.
Yeah, because it's a horrible international team. They finally realized, hey, we're way better than these guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Who do you think Keegan can pump up that crowd? Keegan can pump up these players, man. I'm telling you.
He can do that as just the captain. I don't know. I think he's a man of honor. I think he's going to realize, look, I'm a captain. I really want to win this thing. I will be a legend if I steer these guys to a victory. I would rather not. I would rather take myself out of the proceedings. And
he said if he makes it on points, he'll play.
Yeah,
if he doesn't, exactly. He's not going to make himself a captain's pick. No shot.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, obviously if he makes it on points, then he would be there, because that means he would win probably a couple big time events.
I don't care what the interest rates are. I'm refining my house. I'm leveraging myself to the fucking hilt. I'm finding every fucking shady bookie I can find. I'm putting every dollar I can put my hands on in the U.S. if that happens.
Okay, all right. We'll see what happens next year. You also had a little bit of action on Ludwig this week, despite the fact you called him a coward.
He was a coward.
Scottish Open. And you actually got into it with a colleague of ours, Jeff Feinberg, for a little side bet that really was a hedge for your bet. And of course, it blew up in your face.
Of course it did.
Why don't you talk about a little bit what happened today with Jeff?
Yeah, so me and Feinberg were going back and forth. I was saying, listen, just start betting Ludwig. Whoever his opponent is on Sunday. Doesn't matter what it is, because the kid leaks oil. He sucks on Sunday, regardless, right? And so he was matched up against Noren. So I texted Feinberg and I was like, listen, I talked all this shit. So look, here I am. But here's the deal. I don't want fucking Noren. Like Noren's a fucking loser. I don't want Noren. And I was like, it was like, pick a golfer. He said, well, I can't do Windy because I got to take it on him. He's like, do you want Keegan? And I was like, God, I really don't want Keegan. I was like, but because I was the one talking shit, I will do it out of the principle. So we put a hundy on it. I made the line. I think it was like plus 110 based on the 2 other lines we were looking at. But Feinberg refused to accept my money. So we're going to do, because of the way it went down. So we're going to do a long shot, some sort of football future. We'll throw the $100 on that. And hopefully me and Jeff will make some money on that.
All right. A man of honor there. I want to ask you a question though, because I was not watching. I could only hear the sound it made. Was Ludwig's approach on 14 the one where he just hit it
in the water?
Yeah. Was that as bad as what I'm imagining in my head?
No.
Not even close. Yeah.
No, he was posing.
He's posing.
It looked fine. They just I think they just picked the wrong club. It had to be the wrong club.
See, it sounded funny in my earbud.
But
Like,
when they
it.
slowed it going down, like it wasn't like a nap iron. You know what I mean? Like when they zoom in on the nap and it's like fucking sideways. So maybe he caught it up on the face a little bit, but in no planet did I think that was going in the fucking water. No, all of a sudden the camera went to the water. I was like, get the how? Because I wanted Ludwig to win because much more money on him. So
okay. All right. So your opinion on him has not really changed at all.
No. Well, so here's the deal. I will say this.
Okay.
He did previous to today on Sundays, he was ejecting and ejecting quickly.
Other than the RSM, yes.
Right.
And the Masters.
So even on the Masters, anytime he got close, he ejected. Anytime. He held the lead for a hole and then blasted it out of the fucking.
Didn't he lose by like 1 or 2?
It doesn't matter. It was 2 by that point, but like I think today he did okay. Like he didn't fully eject. He could have because he started going bad and was going bad, and then started steadied himself and then made a birdie. And even on 18, he ended up in that bunker and he still put a pretty decent shot on it. Just ended up a little short, couldn't get out of there. So I was fine with how Ludwig did today.
Okay. All right. I got nothing else with BMW. You got anything else?
No.
Okay. All right. Why don't we take first little break, and then let's talk about revitalized East Lake. The first time I have ever been excited to talk about this golf course
it's literally
in my entire content producing career.
Absolutely. All right. Well, listen, everything in the merch store is 10% off with promo code football. Listen, go get all the golf gear, man. I love Refs Are Terrorists. That shirt literally got me pictures taken with random strangers when I went to the Bruins Panthers game. Everybody loves the Refs Are Terrorists shirt. Go buy a bunch of golf shit too. And plus, college football's back, so go listen to the College Football Experience for their week 1 picks. I'm pretty sure they fucking swept because FSU choked. I'm pretty sure they were on Georgia Tech. I think all 4 underdogs hit, so Colby was hitting all the underdogs. So go listen to them boys and go make some money so we can start putting on these fall swing events. And then Underdog Fantasy. Pick'ems gives you a chance to win 1,000 times your entry, or you can play fantasy football the right way with Best Ball Mania. Best is live with $15 million in prizes. You can use specials and boost on all flex entries. So sign up today with promo code GOLFSGPN to claim your special pick plus first time deposit. Offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. UnderdogFantasy.com, promo code GOLFSGPN.
Good. All right. Before we actually get to East
Hi, Mush.
Hi, Mush. Hey,
Mush is in the chat.
All right. So before we actually get to East Lake, can we get a 2-minute State of the Union on the Florida State Seminoles, by the way?
Oh, it's bad, bro. It's bad.
Yeah. Okay. You're talking all that shit last year about not making the playoffs and getting screwed.
Well, last year was last year, right? Like we did get screwed. That's what happened. We got screwed. It was Herb Street's fault. They even addressed it on college football game day because there was all types of signs. Like, and Herb Street, first of all, first class fucking asshole from what everybody who's ever interacted with him has ever said. Like, just a pompous douchebag. So fuck Herb Street. But look, that defense, not great. All these Georgia guys, Alabama guys coming in. This new quarterback. I was texting with Tommy. I stopped texting with Tommy in like the third quarter because, look, I'm an FSU fan, but I'm not like a Patriots capper FSU fan, right? Like, it's not ruining my day. I was texting Tommy's wife to make sure he was okay after that loss. I was like, because that kid sucked. That DJ kid sucked. The defense sucked. The O-line sucked. Man, especially now with all these, now you're paying these fucking players. Now you're paying these guys, and they're coming from big SEC schools. And look, this is expanded playoff, so it's not dead yet, right? So, but man, they're gonna have to do something because I really like that coach, man. The coach, I think the coach is really good. I just think the boys thought, we're a Florida State, and I'm just gonna show up and we're gonna win. And man, that defensive line and offensive line did not play well, and I am not a fan of the quarterback DJ at all, not even a little bit.
All right. I mean, you make a good point that unlike other years where this is ending your season.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking forward to the Gator Bowl at that point.
Oh my God.
Yeah. Like, obviously you can come back, you probably can lose maybe one more game. And then you can still make the ACC championship.
Yep.
You win that.
Win
You find
that.
like that. That's what's good about the system. I don't understand why they were so resistant about 12, team playoffs, because it's just going to be a money factory for them with this thing. Like it's going to get, it's finally going to get me to watch like a lot of these bowl games. Because you know what? I'm not watching the San Diego Credit Union Bowl.
No,
I don't care.
Well, where we come from, the Northeast in general gives 0.0 fucks about college football.
No, we're all about basketball up here. We got the Big East lore and everything. And now with all the conference realignment, paying players, everything's just garbage now. I mean, Syracuse is going to get left behind with all this stuff. I have a lot of conversations with my buddies about this conference realignment stuff, and we are terrified that Syracuse is going to be completely irrelevant in about 3 years because their football team sucks. Boeheim is gone. And like, what kids are we actually going to attract to come to Syracuse, New York to, I don't know, pimp some auto dealership up here? So I don't know. Yeah, you're right. College sports for us is not as important as what it used to be, unless you have a really good basketball team that
like the UMass team when I was a kid with Marcus Camby and fucking
because Calipari was paying everybody.
Yeah, baby, before NIL. It was beautiful. I had all the UMass gear. I couldn't pick Amherst out on a fucking map, but I knew they were Massachusetts and I liked Marcus Camby. So there we go.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about Eastlake. So how many shows have we done? How many tour championship previews have we done?
Bazillion.
Bazillion. Well, we started in 2020?
Yeah.
And that was, I think, is that the second year of the staggered start? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, second.
I don't think I've ever had a nice thing to say about Eastlake.
Not a single nice thing to say.
Not a single nice thing. It was
usually we reserve 15 minutes on the opening of these shows for you to yell about it.
Well, that's the thing, is we actually didn't do a preview show because I just had nothing nice about to say of the golf course. The format stinks, which it still stinks, by the way.
Correct.
But, it was, redesigned by my good friend Reese Jones, who, legendary designer of places like Bellerive, or Torrey Pines, or, a couple other golf courses that just don't really stick out. And this place didn't really stick out all that much. Like, I'll show you some of the holes of what they were before. It's just kind of boring. And, it's as far as what the routing was, it was kind of just a lot of going up and down, and all the holes looked the same. Yes, it had some Donald Ross kind of characteristics, but it really was a Reese Jones at the end of the day. But then the Messiah came in. The Messiah's name is Andrew Green. And if you know your golf architecture, if you've been listening to this show, Andrew Green came into another golf course that, had a lot of history and prestige, was very tired. And that was Oak Hill Country Club. And he completely transformed the golf course. Now, it had its detractors because it did play a little bit one note, but maybe just because I knew what Oak Hill was and what it turned into and just how big of an improvement it was. He did a wonderful job. And so when I heard that he was going to come to Eastlake and completely uproot all the Reese Jones design philosophies and actually do a similar restoration, as I call it, restoring the golf course, we're also kind of renovating it too, which is what he did here. I got very excited. So I was eagerly awaiting Google Earth to update. And unfortunately, the latest imagery they have still shows, how like the golf course is, you have the lake in the middle, you have the front nine over on the right side of the property, and then the back nine over on the left. So the latest photo I have shows almost the entire back nine just under construction. And I got a couple photos actually where you can kind of see that. I mean, it's kind of cool if you want to see like how a golf course is kind of built, like how they actually ripped up this entire golf course. It's just a giant dirt pile for half of it. But fortunately, though, I was able to get at least a lot of the holes in the front nine. There's a lot of things I like about it. One hole in particular, I think, is a giant improvement that I'll talk about this today or tonight with you. But I think he did a great job There's a lot of changes that he made.
Not
Just a high level. Every green was rebuilt, similar to Oak Hill. They were expanded.
Are they all going to be concrete then?
That's the thing. So it just opened a couple of months ago. They are going to be rock hard, and I think, yeah. And
so for anybody who hasn't played on like a brand new built course, I played on one. They opened up Stillwater here in my area, and I played it where the houses were still being built, and it was within a month of open before it was open to the public. I'd hit like a fucking beautiful wedge, and it'd be like I'd be 120 out, so nice and high. It would hit, and it was legitimately like hitting off a like it would hit like a parking lot concrete. It was insane.
Yep. So the greens, unless we get a shit ton of rain, is going to be pretty firm. Now, what they also did was, you know how every green had all this Bermuda rough around it, so if it just bounded, it would stop. Well, I think, just look at the updated imagery, and Stuart Sink also mentioned this, every green now has short grass around it.
So it's good runoffs?
So there's a lot of runoffs now, which is going to be a lot of fun, especially when you combine the fact that it's going to be very hard greens. All the bunkers rebuilt. A lot of tee boxes were rebuilt.
What do they do to the bunkers?
So I'll show you. They're just they're more of a Donald Ross style. Like, remember at Oak Hill where Andrew Green built them and said, okay, I want these bunkers to be a true hazard. Yeah. And we got highlights of Corey Connors hitting into the face of the bunker or Holland hitting the face of the bunker.
Yeah.
You're going to see similar shaped bunkers. It's like, long, but really skinny, where you can get really awkward lies. You got to get the ball up, like steep grass faces.
Quickly.
You're not going to be able to tell from these, but like the bunkers that they have were, bigger, they collect to the bottom. You could get a club on it. Not really a whole lot of stance issues. You're going to see some stance issues with these. Also, the way they are designed and placed. I'll show you a couple of examples. One of the things Donald Ross did in his philosophy was create diagonal hazards. And specifically with Andrew Green, who actually found previously undiscovered aerial photographs from Eastlake in 1949 and used this to actually find where the greens were, find where the old bunkers were, and put them back into place.
Yeah.
So why don't we get right to it then? So let me share screen. So Google Earth is officially dead for StreamYard. It just doesn't work. But so my solution is I'm going to screenshot and put it in a Word doc, because apparently that is easier to upload to you guys. And it's kind of, I can't really zoom in. I can't measure things on the fly, but I kind of talk it through with you.
Yeah.
So this is the first hole. Just kind of a whatever hole. It is 469 yards up the hill. Got a couple bunkers over on the left. Narrow fairway, thick rough here. The typical Reese Jones design green with just bunkers guarding short left and right. Like almost every single bunker you probably see at Torrey Pines or here. Whatever. Here's what Andrew Green did. So for the Tour Championship, they always utilize this tee box right here, the front tee box. Now they eliminated that. Everything's pushed back. This is going to play 512 now up the hill. So it's going to play pretty long.
So that bunker's in play now.
Yeah, so it's kind of far out, but I made mention of the use of diagonal hazards. So I can't really turn it here, but you can kind of see the bunker kind of juts gradually back into the fairway.
Yeah.
So, what this does is, if you want to maybe take this on, maybe they move the tee box a little bit. If you're a little bit off center, it's a longer carry over this bunker here. Now, like if it's a really bad shot, you're just going to end up in it. You can also see too, like it's really narrow, like it's long, but let's say you're kind of like up against the side here, your feet are going to be above the ball. It's a true hazard. And that's just how we wanted to create a lot of these bunkers. Same thing with the greenside bunker here. This really long, skinny bunker.
Seriously.
Again, like if you're in like the wrong part of it here, that's
so they pushed the green back.
So no, so the green's actually in the same location. They just pushed the tee box back.
Changed the bunkers. Okay.
Yeah, but you'll see a couple of these where they actually physically move the bunker. Now they redid the green as far as the shape. This is all short grass right here. So this all runs down to the collection here. There is a change of agronomy that we'll talk about a little bit, but just high level. This is basically what Andrew Green did to a lot of these holes. Just redid a lot of the bunkering, boulder bunkering, back to the Donald Ross type of bunkering that they have, restoring a lot of the greens. It's also lengthened 150 yards, mostly with a couple holes. But yeah, this is a big improvement of what this was.
I like it. Yeah.
Second hole, this is the par 3. Again, just kind of a ho-hum par 3, 197 yards. Again, bunkers guarding short, left and right. Reese Jones design. Now, I mean, much bolder bunkering here, little narrower. These bunkers, same thing, kind of what you saw in hole number 1, expanded green here, short grass around each green. It's going to play as a more exciting hole, especially when these greens are going to be a lot more firm. So it's a little longer, this hole, but it just is a better par 3 than what it used to be. Third hole. This one I like a lot. I'll show you for a little bit. Again, just kind of a boring hole. Everything kind of always ended up down here because it's down the hill. And it's just up a little wedge into the green.
Yep.
Now, though, you got some cool things going on here. They widened the fairways a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So now, because it's a downhill tee shot, you got another one of these diagonal bunkers here, diagonal hazards.
So they shortened the one that's never been in play on the right-hand side. They basically moved one down on the right-hand side that will come into play.
Yeah, so the green is now like here.
No, not the green. I'm talking about the bunker. So the bunker on the right was never in play on the old one. And now they kind of just shortened that one out and then made another bunker farther down on the right.
Yeah, they did it. Again, it's another diagonal hazard where, you can push it because, especially if you want to get to like a back left pin location, you want to push it down the right side here. Now you got a couple trees though. So if you push it a little farther, too far right, it's a shorter carry, but you end up in the tree. But the reward though is if you can do it right, keep it in the fairway, you got a great angle to the green here. Again, though, if you want to kind of play it safe, it's a farther carry to the middle of this bunker here. And if you just really blast driver because it's downhill, you can actually run into this little bunker here. And that sets up kind of an awkward bunker shot to the green here.
Yeah.
Just a good hole. Kind of gives you options. You can bail out right, but, let's say the pin is back left. It's a bad angle. So I don't know the exact contours of this green here, but it gives you options. Let's say you want to take on risk a little bit more for better access to pin locations, go down the right, you got to take on this bunker, you got a couple trees here, or you bail out left, maybe not as good of an angle. We'll get to another hole in a little bit that really maximizes this risk reward. But yeah, this is a good example of how this hole changed. It just plays a little more interesting, in my opinion, than what it was. I think there's more options on this hole. Fourth hole here. Kind of the same holes like number 1, just uphill, long par 4. Got a couple bunkers over on the left, narrow. Again, just guarded by 2 bunkers short of the green here. On this hole, they added, they changed the bunker over on the left here. It's 310 to carry. But the biggest change though is this green now. So they squared off the edges and it's plateaued on all sides. And there's bunkers surrounding all sides now. So this looks more like a traditional Ross green. This looks a lot more like, I think, the green remember how they added that par 3 at Oak Hill, number 5 by the entrance? Similar looking green to that. So just kind of restoring like a traditional Ross green on this hole. So the green looks a lot better. Short grass all around once again. Just looks cleaner, just looks better. We're going to skip to the 6th hole. This is the par 5 up the hill. You got a couple bunkers in play over on the right. If you really want to blast one, it's, 328 probably up the hill, not really in play. Just 525 up the hill, dog leg right. Now, so they actually shifted the green. The green was here. Now it's way over to the right here. They have this long, narrow, skinny bunker over on the right. But they removed a couple of trees.
I got bad eyes. What's the outage? Is that 291 at the end?
So this is 291, 259 here. So what I think they want you to do on this hole is try to play it as close to this bunker as you can.
Yeah.
Because then your approach shot in is actually a really good angle in. You don't have to, you can kind of take these bunkers out of play and go to any pin position. But then you can also bail out left. But it's a longer approach shot. You got to carry over some of these bunkers over here. If you're in one of them, you could draw a pretty bad lie or an awkward lie. So again, just provides options, as far as, Donald Ross would put hazards to where you want to play towards it to maximize your reward because it's a riskier shot, or you can bail out away from it and kind of delay the penalty. This is a good example right here where he did that. So solid par 5, only 530, but it's up the hill. Again, you're gonna have to have proper tee shot placement, depending on where the pin position is, but I think it's a well-designed hole. 8th hole. I think this is the biggest improvement they made on the course. I know, Capper, it's heavy stuff, but we're getting through it.
No, I like it. I like it.
Okay. All right. I think you're gonna like this change.
I just don't. I don't want to take. I don't want to. I guess I've been used to Google with the the Google Maps, whatever.
I know
Google with the delay, so I don't want to like stop and interrupt. I wait till you're done talking before I talk.
Well, I mean, I see no delay right now, so I think we're good. All right.
I mean, so what is this going to do scoring wise? Like this is. Well, it seems more.
We'll get to
difficult already.
We'll get to that in a little bit. I mean, I'll show you how it played, and then how I kind of think it's going to change.
All right.
But this one might be in a vacuum though, because the greens are going to be so hard that it's going to be hard to hold. Like the green regulation rate is going to be a lot lower. So this might be one you kind of maybe throw out. I just think naturally it's going to be more difficult this week, just because I think the greens are going to be a lot more difficult to hold. And I think if you're going to end up in one of these these bunkers, I think it's a little more difficult too. But anyways, so the 8th hole, narrow fairway, you got basically avoid water all the way down the left here. Guys would just bail out right. You got a couple of bunkers over to, just sway them from hitting it too far right. But guys just bail out right, set up a mid-iron in, yawn, whatever. So Andrew Green, though, came in and said, why do we make this a short par 4 risk reward on the 8th hole? So he moved the green up about 70 yards. So now I think this tee box right here is still going to remain. From the back tee box here, it's 390 now. They could move it up during the tournament to make it like 330, 340, drivable par 4 with the left. And again, though, you got these you got the diagonal hazard with the bunkers here. So this is from the back tee, but let's pretend like they're teeing off right here. So the risky side to play this hole is to take on the water. It's a shorter carry over this left bunker right here, but you got water all the way left. If you do it right, though, you got a great angle to the green, or, just chipping up. Don't have to worry about these bunkers over here. But, the risk is take on the water on this side. Or you play it down the middle, but longer carry over this bunker, or just completely bail right. Now, let's say this pin tucked back left here. If you're coming in from this way, let's say you just don't hit that great of an iron shot. You dump it in this back bunker right there. It's a tiny bunker here. You can run it long down the short grass back into the water.
Yeah.
So again, it just gives you options on this hole. Do you want to be risky, take on the water for a better angle to the green, or bail out right and maybe present yourself with a little more of a difficult approach shot? So if they play this up as a drivable par 4, I think this is going to be a really fun hole.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, way better than what this was here.
I don't remember what hole it was today, but there was a hole that was almost drivable. So they're all pulling up. They all had like 60 yards, 80 yards, like little chips in. Like I love drivable par 4s, man.
Yeah, I think this would be, because there isn't really one on the golf course before. Like there's a couple that were like 390, but all the approach shots were like a wedge in. This is what this course kind of missed, was a drivable par 4. And they could actually have this for this tournament. So I think 8 might be a really good hole this week, especially with all the short grass around the green now. It's going to be fun. And then we're just going to head to 17. So shorter par 4, the tee box is kind of awkward, kind of crisscrosses with the 14th here. But, the goal of the hole is just hit to the middle of the fairway, set up a shot into the green. Doesn't really matter where you are in the fairway. You still got to carry over this bunker short of the green here. Whatever. This hole.
Yeah.
Now, so you got the same tee box here. It kind of looks like, it reminds me of what's that?
It looks farther back.
No, it's not. It's not farther back. So it's the same yardage, but it kind of reminds me a little bit like a shorter road hole. And now let me explain this.
Okay.
So pretend
Well,
this is like, so it's a shorter reverse road hole horizon. So pretend this is the road hole hotel right here. So the goal of that hole is to play as close to the hotel as possible, set up a really good angle to the green, take out the road hole bunker, quote unquote.
Yep.
Or you could just bail out way right here or way left, as they do on the road hole. But then you got to carry over this bunker. This acts kind of like the road here. You know, if you go long, that kind of reminds me of what this hole looks like now. You got this, but if you hit it a little too far left, now you have this really narrow, skinny bunker right here. You know, maybe you got some tree trouble to deal with. So that's the penalty. So again, kind of like some other holes I showed you, it wants you to play closer to the hazard to set up a better angle into the green, or you could just bail outright and delay the penalty or delay the difficult approach shot for later. So a lot of these holes are like that over and over and over. Obviously, the bunkering is way better. The greens are shaped and contoured a lot better than what they were. I think the greenside bunkers are much more difficult than what they were before. I think a lot of thought was put into this place to try and now with the pro game, I talk about angles into greens and risk reward, and kind of with these guys, they hit so long and straight doesn't matter. But with at least what they were trying to intend of doing, it's a way better golf course. And if the greens really are going to be that much firmer than what they were, and it's going to be harder to hold greens, I think it's going to be a more exciting golf course to watch. Now, whether they'll actually translate on television because of the format, I don't know. But it's a better golf course. I'm excited.
Television, you act like we're going to see these shots.
That's true. You're not going to see these shots. So it's a better golf course. I'm excited to see it. I'm happy. I'm happy that it got some much needed life put into it. And we'll see. So some other major changes I didn't have here. So actually the 14th, which is this hole, this is now going to play as a par 5 down the hill. Before it was just a long par 4. So this is now a par 71. But that actually provides some much needed juice down the back 9. If we're
it's going to be eagle opportunity for everybody.
Well, that's the thing, and we're starting with these starting strokes here. Okay,
can I just stop for a second and ask you something? I mean,
sure.
Why are we adding another par 5? I mean, we have natural par 5s where these guys are having like at worst fucking 210 in, and that's not like me and you gripping and ripping a fucking 5-wood, right? Like they have iron in their hand. It's fucking insane. Like,
yeah, but like if we're gonna have this staggered start with strokes being assigned, you want a hole where guys can actually gain on the lead.
I'll tell you right now, nobody has needs to turn to the betting show for my pick. Single bullet, Keegan, all day.
Okay,
let's go. 4 strokes behind. He's feeling good. Did you listen to that press conference, Steve?
All right, we'll talk about later where guys have started. And end up winning the Tour Championship. Don't get cute this week, spoiler alert. Yeah. But anyway, so that's one change. The other major change is number 9, which is a par 3. That now plays 260 yards.
Whew.
Yeah, over water. Now it's a little bit of a different angle, so it kind of takes a lot of the water.
Wait, how far are you going to carry the water?
You don't have to carry it nearly as far this time. But it's 260 yards now. They pushed the tee box back and left JFK style, and so it's a longer shot into the par 3 now. So it's 260. It was like 215 before this.
So long. 260.
Yeah, but otherwise though, I think like 150 yards got added to the scorecard. A couple holes got shifted out where like. And I estimate where the proximity buckets are. You might have to move that out a little bit. Okay. But a couple holes got significantly lengthened. Number 1 got significantly lengthened. Obviously, 14 got lengthened. Number 9 got significantly lengthened. So, there's going to be a higher volume of longer approach shots there were in years past. But yeah, this is East Lake. I'm excited for it. I think it's a much better golf course. I think Andrew Green nailed it and hit it out of the park.
Love it. I love that you're excited about it. If you're excited about it, that makes me excited about it.
Yeah.
And just
now,
based on the pictures you showed me, like, good. Let's change it up.
yeah, but that's the thing. These guys are so good now that like might not matter. Or like you said, they might not even show us this stuff.
That's the worst.
Yeah, like what I'm showing you right now might be the only time they actually talk about like the changes in depth.
There's 30 golfers on the course, and somehow we are still not going to see a lot of golf shots. It's insanity. No. We'll get more vignettes and more interviews with CEOs and fucking let's talk to the stiff who somehow can call a fucking calling a match or a fucking round. There's more talking heads instead of just golf shots. I don't care what fucking Tom, Dick, and Harry have to say about the course and this and that. I don't care. You guys are morons. You don't know shit anyway. Anytime you guys open your mouth, you say you don't know anything. Like you go back to like Corey Connors, generational putter. I'm sorry, what did you say? Like, just little things like that.
I mean, I will say that I was listening to PGA Tour radio on Thursday, and usually
radio's fine. Radio's the best.
Well, one of the guys has significantly lost his fastball, as I shared a couple of quips.
With
you. It was really bad.
That's fine, but he was good in his time. Maybe he just needs to move on. You know.
Well, they also had in their earpiece too, saying, "Hey, you guys need to GM in FedEx Cup and President's Cup coverage."
Oh, obviously, dude, they ride so hard for that shit. It's fucking nuts.
Yeah.
I was texting you about it 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was like, they're trying to pump juice into this thing.
They're talking about Scotty Scheffler saying, he's really trying, going for the ultimate prize in golf. It's not a guarantee. You got to get there. It's like, okay, guys.
So gross.
Stop it. This guy won a second Masters in a Players Championship.
I will say, if Keegan wins the FedEx, I will hold it in a different stature. I'm just saying. I'm gonna be honest. I'm just gonna be honest.
All right. Do we got our ad break? Why don't we take an ad break?
Yeah, we got one more bill to pay. Okay. You guys ever want to create your own sports betting model for football? Yep. Do you know what a sports betting model is? Anybody listening to this probably knows what a sports betting model is. Well, SGPN's proud partner, Rhythm, is the #1 AI sports betting platform that helps bettors at all levels to create the ability to build custom predictive betting models in seconds. You get predictions for betting on money lines, spreads, totals, and props. Build your model, copy one of the top performing models from the leaderboard, or press build model for me, and Rhythm gives you predictions for every game and every player prop, plus a myriad of stats, research, trends, analysis, and betting insights. The Rhythm college football loved Delaware State in the points this weekend. Did they win? I think they did, right? Anyway, build your own model and get ready for college one football. Claim your 7-day free trial. Go to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/rhythm. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/RITHMM. I think Delaware State won. I think they won outright.
Okay. All right. Well, there you go. All right. Let's go over the GCSA report. There's actually some more changes to this golf course that I did not cover, which I saved for this segment right here. So just to recap, golf course was built in 1904 by Tom Bendelow, but it was redid by Donald Ross in 1913. Then Reese Jones got his grimy, dirty fingers in this golf course in 1994, 2008, 2016. It actually started playing a lot harder in 2016. I think a lot of the biggest changes made to the golf course was made then, and that kind of dictated what it was for a couple of years. But what I did notice, though, just kind of reviewing the scoring, and I'm glad that they redid this golf course, I hope it plays harder, was when they moved it from late September to late August, it made a big difference as far as like turf conditions and how soft it was and how easy the scoring was. So before that, when it was at the end of September, like it was actually one of the harder golf courses on the PGA Tour. Like it played close to par, maybe a little bit over par. Once they moved to August, though, average score was like 1 under par, 2 under par. Suddenly, guys are making a lot more birdies.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, whatever. But I'm hoping that with the changes they made this year, combined with how new these greens are, how firm it is, maybe we get back a little bit to like half under par, even par, like average score. I'm hoping it plays a little more difficult. We'll see. All right. So Angel Green came in, like I mentioned, 2023, 2024, redid it. Saw some other changes. I just mentioned that is a par 71 now. Number 14 plays the par 5, plays about like 480 down the hill. So proximity bucket's probably going to be like 250 or so coming in. 7,490 yards is the yardage right now, adding about 40 yards, 50 yards on number 14. Adds a little bit of that. Number 9's added like 40 yards, and a couple other holes adds like 10 yards or so. That's how you get to the 7490. But, big boy golf course now. Longer golf course than what it was. Average green size, 6,200 square feet. That is about 600 square feet larger than what it was. Andrew Green came in, expanded the greens, recaptured some old pin positions. So they're a little bigger than what they were. But as we just mentioned, because they're going to play firmer because they're new, they're going to be pretty difficult to hit. So maybe in a couple of years, once these greens have a little more foot traffic on it, the green regulation rate will go up a little bit because it's a little bit bigger greens. But for this year, though, I would expect it's going to be pretty difficult to the green regulation. It's going to be an entertaining tournament, hopefully. Let's talk. Go ahead.
So I feel like around the green didn't fucking matter before here, but now it's really going to matter.
No, it did not. We'll get to the stats in a little bit. It was one of the, honestly, the degree of
easiest,
difficulty,
right? Victor Hovland won it, for Christ's sake.
Across the board, pretty much everything was average to significantly below average in difficulty. That's how bland this place was. So we'll talk about what it was and what I think is going to happen, and just right after this. So agronomy change, though. There were a couple of agronomy changes. First off, they switched to a different type of zoysia in the fairways. Not a material change. Zoysia is a great turf to hit off of. Same type of zoysia. You see it TPC Craig Ranch or Southwind. Guys say that when they hit off zoysia, it's like hitting off a driving range mat. This is actually one of the more penal places to miss a fairway. I think zoysia is part of the reason why. They'll get to a little bit. But it's a different strain of zoysia in the fairways. Not going to matter all that much. It's zoysia. What does change a little bit, though, is the fairways and collars before the renovation was Bermuda. Now it's zoysia, which actually makes it a little easier, I think, to chip it, back on. So that's something to maybe consider as well. But it still tight lies into newer greens, into firmer greens. So it should be more difficult. But if it was straight, short grass Bermuda, that would be really difficult. The fact that zoysia kind of helps these guys out a little bit, that may be something to maybe watch and monitor for this week. Maybe that helps some guys. There was also a slight change in the agronomy of the greens. Before it was Mini Verde Bermuda. Now is TifEagle Bermuda. So you got to switch a little bit of focus. I mean, you probably can just use Bermuda stats and be fine. But if you want specific TifEagle Bermuda golf courses, I actually have the lists right here. Let me scroll down to my article that has not been published yet. All right. The TifEagle, non-overseeded TifEagle, by the way. You have Plantation Course for the Century. You got Sea Island for the RSM Classic. You have Albany Golf Club for the Hero, Concession Golf Club for the WGC Concession, and Bay Hill. Those are the TifEagle golf courses. Actually, I think PGA National might also be TifEagle too, now that I think of it. But
it is.
All right. So if you want to focus mostly on that type of Bermuda, go to those 6 golf courses. Otherwise, just do your usual Bermuda stats and call it a day. I think that's probably it for this. Yeah. So let's go to the course table. Let's start talking about it. Let's just mow through all this. All right. So let's get rid of the driving side. So as you just kind of alluded to, everything was just kind of easy at this place. Or not easy, but middle of the road. So tee shot difficulty. Yeah, it was narrow, but not all that difficult. About average difficulty. Iron play, the approach shots were one of some of the easiest on the PGA Tour since 2015. Around the green, a little bit below average for difficulty. Putting, though, this was actually some of the easiest greens to putt on of any greens played on the PGA Tour since 2015. So we'll get to those in a little bit. But let's talk about driving first. If there was something that probably was the most difficult about this place, was the tee shots. Not necessarily executing them, because you just had to hit it in the middle of the fairway. It wasn't okay, you got to avoid a bunker or carry this. It's just mindless. Okay, just hit it straight, hit in the fairway. But we'll go, the driving accuracy rate, though, was 54%, one of the lowest on the PGA Tour, because of very narrow fairways. They only had about 24 yard wide fairways, some of the narrowest that they played. And, for the most part, up until last year, this was kind of a lesson driver golf course. More positional golf, average driving was only about 292, 293. Now, last year, though, big jump up to average drive at 300. And I think guys have just decided last year that, you know what? The golf clubs we use now just goes farther and straighter than ever before. We're just going to send it. And I think that explains why big boost in driving distance last year. And that probably, it seems like, you know, and I think about like guys who had more success at this place in past years, like early 2010s. The guys who would win were like Brandt Snedeker, Bill Haas.
So gross.
Henrik Stenson, Jim Furyk won here. But, you know, lately it's been Rory or Xander or, you know, Cantlay or Hovland, like guys who have a lot more pop, not necessarily the most accurate, but they've hit the fair amount of fairways with how far they hit it. So there's been a little bit, I think, a shift. You know, it's kind of like every other golf course, but there's been more of a shift towards just send, you know, guys who drive it really good combination of length and accuracy, tend to be a little better than just your fairway finders, which is what you were probably more looking for, like, you know, like about 10 years ago. Another thing about driving at this place was there was a high penalty for missed fairways. It was actually one of the most severe for missing a fairway between your average score on a hole if you missed a fairway versus if you hit the fairway. So it was the 9th most penal of all golf courses played since 2015. And it was one of the top 5 most penal places to miss a fairway at in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the last, 9 years played there. It was significantly penal to hit in the rough because I think that has something to do with kind of like what we saw at Southwind, where you're hitting from Zoysia. It's a really friendly turf to hit off of. You're hitting out of Bermuda, which is inconsistent. There's a lot of guesswork. You know, you don't really know how far the ball is going to fly if it comes short. There was a big difference in your scoring average for balls out of the rough versus in the fairway. I think that's a big reason why. Non-rough penalty would be like your fairway bunkers, you know, above average, but not as severe as some other places. So with some of these changes, though, is this going to change? Well, it is a little wider, the fairways. Stuart Sink said it's much easier to hit fairways here at this place. But I still think, even though the driving accuracy rate's probably going to go up a little bit, I still think the missed fairway penalty will be just as severe. I think for a lot of the same reasons what it was before. First, it's the difference between hitting off of Zoysia fairways versus Bermuda rough. Always more difficult as far as, you know, the guesswork there. And second, these greens are going to be so much more firm because they're new. You have to be hitting from the fairways in order to, you know, have a chance to like hit it, especially with all that short grass that is around each green. That like
I'm so excited.
Yeah, if you're hitting out of the rough, like good luck stopping it. So I really think, like, you know, we'll see next year when we look at this, the missed fairway penalty probably will be one of the more severe that we see this year. And I really do think, like, if you're spraying it all over the place, like kind of like other years, you're not going to have much of a shot. You know, you got to drive it really good this week. So same thing as, you know, even though the golf course is different, same with what you always do. Target guys are driving it really good. Obviously, Keegan drives it really good. So something to look for. All right. What are you gonna say?
I will burst out of my skin if Keegan wins the fucking FedEx Cup.
I know you will.
I don't even know what I'll be able to do.
I mean, you're going to sing a bowl of him, and if he wins, like that would be the greatest ball you've ever made.
I'm looking at it, right? Scotty, he was faking a back injury. He was doing the LeBron shit. Like, oh, the camera's on me. I hit a bad shot, so I'm going to shake my hand a little bit, make sure everybody knows it wasn't a bad shot. I'm just because I'm a little bit injured. He was doing that bullshit. Xander's the only one who scares me up there. Other than that, Decky, I mean, just withdrew. God knows. So, I mean, it's in my brain, it's Keegan and Xander, head to head.
What about your boy Ludwig now?
I told you, he's trending in the right direction. Still a loser.
Where is he starting? He's starting at -5.
Who?
Ludwig?
Ludwig starting -5.
Okay, so we won't have a situation where Ludwig wins the Tour Championship, but Keegan has the low 72 hole score, and you got to deal with that nonsense.
Correct.
And you'll call it an illegitimate. You'll call it illegitimate win. That'll be fun. All right, we won't have to deal with that this week. All right, approach play below average difficulty since 2015. It used to be kind of difficult. There were a couple of years in 2019, 2020. It was one of the more difficult ones to hit iron shots. Last couple of years though, 36 out of 38 in 2022 as far as difficulty with iron shots. 34 out of 45 last year. So obviously this year, actually, let's get to what it was before. So the average green regulation rate is 61%. About PGA Tour average. Last couple of years though, guys were hitting a lot more greens, probably because it was a little softer playing in August. Relatively easy approach shots from every single proximity bucket, though. 71 out of 93 courses as far as difficulty under 150 yards, 60th out of 93 over 150 yards. So just not very difficult approach shots as far as just execution. Obviously, this year, we are going to throw in new greens. They're going to be firmer. There are also more, the bunker placements are better, I think, around the greens. So probably there's going to be more options for pins. So probably more difficult approach shots to hit into there. So yeah, I think this is going to be a very difficult iron week coming up. And, not to mention, there's probably going to be some longer approach shots as well. So that always helps.
That's Keegan too, baby. Long irons.
So there you go. I remember one time he tried shoehorning Keegan into everything. I think it was the Phoenix Open, and I completely lost my shit on you. This time I'm going to allow it.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
I think it was. Isn't that when? God, why am I blanking? He texted us. He was like, "I can't listen to the show anymore. You guys are fighting." I was like, "Was it a real fight?"
That kind of was. I was pretty annoyed at you.
I know.
Yeah. No, I had a take back then that was terrible. I think I actually compared at that point Keegan to Aaron Wise, and you lost.
Oh, horrible.
Terrible take in hindsight.
You're talking about,
yeah,
the captain of the Ryder Cup team, sir.
Yeah, versus a guy that I think has lost his card officially. So.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Was he was another mental health.
Listen, man. Like if you lose it upstairs, you're going to lose your golf game, and
no shit.
Can't play at a high level.
No, dude. I played great the last fucking 2 times I played. It's amazing. I can't believe it.
I just had to withdraw from a tournament last week because of my back. So
yeah. Always an excuse.
It's true, actually. My back was really fucked up. So I know. I'm having problems, man.
Sad. You're younger than I am.
I know.
You do any physical, and I did physical work for up until 35. Well, 30 years old.
No, I'm actually I'm taking a couple weeks off from golf. I am starting to do better back exercises to stretch myself out. I'm starting to feel better. So I'm actually going to start taking care of myself. I have to now. Yeah, I'm at a point where I can't just roll out of bed and just expect to be fine.
Just wait. You don't even have a 4 in front of your fucking number yet.
I know. This is what's sad. All right. Anyways.
Just wait.
All right.
I wake up and I'm like, that's new. That's fun.
All right. So back to this tournament. So I expected the green regulation rate to go down this year. I expect the approach shots to be much more difficult. So, maybe value better iron play this year than we would other years because, it was a little easier in other years. This year, it's probably going to really be more difficult. So guys who are struggling with their irons probably are going to continue to struggle with their irons. As far as where the proximity buckets are going to go. So you can look last year. Actually, you know what? I'll pull it up right now. So this is what it was in 2023. High concentration between 100 and 150. I would expect a lot of this 100 and 125s start bleeding down a little bit. So now your biggest range between like 125 and 175. So shift a little more to that. And I'm expecting much more shots over 200 this year. Last year it was about 25%. So 1 in 4 shots are over 200. This year I'm expecting closer to like 35%. So like more like 1 in 3. Yeah. So longer approach shots.
Oh my God.
Yeah. It's going to be a tougher. It's going to be tougher.
This is going to be awesome. This is going to be awesome.
Yeah. So I think that's another.
Imagine we have the stupid fucking staggered stat. And I get why you have to reward the guys throughout the season. There has to be something different.
Do you? They never if they did that the year Tiger won, we never would have got that.
Yeah,
It's just because people couldn't do math. They didn't like Steve Kornacki coming in to explain with all the, all that. All right. They had to dumb it down. Like, okay, let's start 10 under. Okay, 9 under. Okay, let's make it really easy for everybody.
That's so funny.
Okay.
So
Anyways.
So true.
All right. So I expect the iron play to be, or approaches to be a little more difficult. Round the green. Kind of just mentioned it, about average difficulty. As far as where it was easy or difficult, really easy from the fairway. The rough was a little more difficult because Bermuda rough makes sense, a little more guesswork. From a bunker, though, one of the easiest on the PGA Tour. Yeah. Obviously, I expect coming out of a bunker to be a lot more difficult this year. Newer greens, better contouring, bolder contouring, and the bunkers can be a little more awkward.
And the rough's gone.
And the rough is gone. So,
you ain't getting saved by the collar now.
So that's another thing too. Like, so the rough is going to be farther away from the green. So that'll be more difficult, more, longer chip shots out of the rough. And then tighter lies.
You made me excited about it. I didn't think you could get me excited about this week, and I am excited about that.
Yeah. And so it was easier from the fairways. Well, probably because what little fairway there was around the green, you probably could putt off it. Now, if the ball is rolling a little bit, you're actually chipping off it. So I would expect it to be a little more difficult. And add to the fact that I think there's going to be a lower green regulation rate. Yeah.
Love it.
It's going to be a good tournament. I think it's going to be a little harder this year. And then putting. One of the easiest on the PGA Tour. 92nd out of 93 golf courses putting under 5 feet. It's essentially automatic under 5 feet.
We need to go play here, Steve. That's where we need to go.
83rd out of 93 courses for 5 and 15 feet. 72 out of 15 feet. So I don't know what exactly the contouring of the greens, just based on what I know what he did to Oak Hill, restoring it, making it bolder contouring. I would expect the greens to be a lot tougher to putt on. I would probably the closest reference is at Wyndham, where it's really putt to tough from over 5 feet. Those are, the guy who renovated that, Chris Spence, a big Donald Ross student. And he redid those greens a lot like those. So I would expect putts over 5 feet to be a lot more difficult this year than other years. So overall, though, I think this is going to be a much more difficult tournament than what we have seen the last couple of years at East Lake.
Let's go. And Scotty's on tilt with a air quote injury. We got Decky who withdrew with an injury. We got Xander and Keegan head to head.
All right. The only other thing, the last thing in data golf we'll go over is just the predictive skill set chart. From what it was, let's load this up here. Now it's got south winds. All right, let's get it over to East Lake. And there you go.
Yep.
There was a big correlation with driving accuracy, which makes sense. Penal golf course to miss a fairway at. So guys who tend to hit more fairways tend to do a little better here. So that's not a change. I expect that to be the same this year. Maybe this distance slightly less than other years, but this captures like early 2010 data. So this probably, I would bump this a little bit. So just guys who tend to like drive it really good, length and accuracy, which is mostly pretty much every good golfer in the PGA Tour. Now, like Xander drives it like really far and straight. Rory drives it really far and straight. So, that's not a big surprise. I would expect irons here to maybe be a little more, but that's the most predictive skill set anyways. I really wouldn't change probably too much.
Yeah.
I think mostly the same types of guys that usually do well at East Lake are going to continue to do well. I don't think nothing. It's not like where at Oak Hill, when Andrew Green redid it, it fundamentally changed the type of golfer you want to target.
Right.
This one, it made the golf course better and more compelling. But I don't think it necessarily changed the profile of a guy you want to take, other than there's longer approach shots now. So maybe better iron players, but it's not going to change all that much. I just think it would make the golf course more interesting to watch.
Word.
Okay. Right. Last thing, what we don't want to talk about, this stupid fucking
stagger stop. Let's say that. Let's save it for the betting show. Let's just save it for the betting show.
No, we're going to say it right now. Okay, because I just want general trends out there. Okay. By the way, it's an hour 4. Probably people have already tuned out anyways. All right. Since 2000, I am a crazy psychopath who a couple years ago went back and said, what if we had this staggered start since 2007, since the start of the FedEx Cup playoffs? What would that have been like? Would there be a lot of volatility? Would we see a big comeback? Well, every single eventual winner of the FedEx Cup would have started at least at -4. So top 10. Technically in 2010, there would have been a playoff between Jim Furyk and Luke Donald, but we don't know what happens. But every single eventual winner, if we had this format, would have started at least in the top 10. So right off the bat, you can eliminate 20 guys. Now, maybe this is a little different this year because it's going to play a little more difficult, but they played difficult in other years and it still didn't matter. So that's that trend. As far as if the staggered start has always been in effect, where would they have started? Well, 0 times from -3 or worse. At -4, it's happened 3 times. At -5, it's happened 2 times. Where's Keegan started? -6.
-6, sir.
All right. Well, that's only happened 1 time.
Matter.
It's happened 7 times from guys starting at -8 and guys who have led going to the Tour Championship. It would happen 4 times. So 11 out of 17 times has been either top 2 guys. Would have been.
How about that?
Yeah. How about that? And then they're also offering, okay, well, you know what? I'm not going to do with strokes. I'm going to do the staggered leaderboard. Okay. Or I'm going to do low 72. Low 72 hole score. Well, 10 of the 17 winners of the FedEx Cup also had the low 72 hole score of that tournament. So, and on average, they gained about 10.7 strokes per round, or 10.7 strokes total on the field.
What, per round?
Not per round, on the field.
I was like, I don't remember watching those talk.
No. So they gained about 10.5 strokes on the field in doing it. Now, think about last year where Xander went nuts. You know, he actually ended up tying Hovland for the low 72 hole score. They gained 14 strokes on the field. Xander still lost by 5. That tournament was over after 3 holes. Early. Yeah, it was terrible. And that's why this format sucks.
I think the last one that was exciting was, sorry, Steve, but the one where Rory came back and blitzed Scotty.
Yeah, where I'm at the driving range grinding and I'm just watching Scotty's lead evaporate. That was fun. Okay. Oh, hi, Cam. How you doing?
How do you fix it?
How do I fix it?
Yeah.
Oh God. No.
Betting show.
I gotta go. You guys talk about it. I'm not sitting here. I know how Steve's gonna fix it. We've heard it before. We can do it on the betting show. I'm not sitting here for a half hour.
No, I've actually changed my mind on how to fix it.
All right. Tune in Tuesday.
Yep.
Night.
Yes. Tune in Tuesday.
Okay. All right.
Wait, you've changed how you're gonna fix it?
Because I've come to accept that match play will never happen. So
no, it's never ever gonna happen.
I need to come up with an actual realistic thing they could do.
All right. Well, we'll hear about that on Tuesday. Got anything else?
No, I got nothing else. We will be back on Tuesday to talk about 30 golfers and 10 of them that actually have a chance to win this thing.
Come on. You know what? They offer 2-ball matchups now versus 3-ball, which is great.
There you go.
Actually, it was super fun. There's always one asshole who blows up the parlay. Always one. It's just like anything else. It's so annoying.
Of course. Yeah.
I'm sure you can figure out which one it was based on fucking this limp dick motherfucker text.
Siwoo. Yeah, you're out on Siwoo.
No, Siwoo actually did it. Siwoo did it. And then Cantlay
blew
it. Then Cantlay blew it.
Yeah, Cantlay blew a positional prop for me today. That wasn't great.
Such a fucking loser. All right. Yeah. Anyway, we'll be back on Tuesday for, I guess, the final show for a little bit.
For 2 weeks.
2 weeks, 2 whole weeks. We get 2 whole weeks off.
Well, unless we do we might do week 1 NFL.
I want to do week 1 NFL.
There's still live technically.
Is there? All right, we'll do live. We'll do a live. Anyway, Come back on Tuesday. No one's listening anymore. Come back on Tuesday. Talk to you guys then. Bye. You have the button now, Steve.